Hello, I'm Bernadette Schwerdt, and today I'm talking to you about how to actually get started with the writing of your book. So we've already covered the benefits of having a business book, the pitfalls of writing a business book. So today it's all about getting started. So here are some tips. So first up, you have to make sure that you've positioned your book correctly. Okay, so what that means is that there's a target audience out there that you'd like to read the book. So you've got to make sure that the title and the content and everything you do fits that particular reader. Now, it might appeal to lots of other people, but you really want it to land specifically for that particular client that you'd like to work with after they've read the book. So once you've identified the positioning and then the client audience or the target audience, you then want to make sure that you've got a detailed contents plan so that you can start to write very efficiently. So once you've kind of got those 2 or 3 things sorted out, we'd like to introduce you to the concept of the writer process. It's an acronym, writer. Okay, so the first one is W for, funnily enough, writing, right? Get started. Now, that sounds easy, and most people just kick off in a really strong way and then they get stuck. We don't advocate that. We actually think it's worth planning it first, and we've got a whole series of steps that you can take in order to actually get that writing process underway. And that becomes a set of discrete tasks that are isolated and super clear so that every time you sit down to write, you know exactly what you're doing. There's no writer's block, there's no procrastination, there's no overwhelm, because everything is structured before you begin. The next thing to consider is the concept of writing, the actual writing of the book once you've got those plans and structures outlined. So this can be probably the longest part of the journey, and to be honest, the hardest part. And I've written 4 books, and I know how the pattern evolves, and it's a bit like a roller coaster where it starts off really exciting, and after a while you feel a bit sick. You think, why did I get on this this ride? And then you move through that and it gets really exciting again, and then it feels a bit awkward and uncomfortable and so on, until you get off and then you go, wow, what a ride, let's do it again. That's why people write more than one book. So at this point, we're really interested in quantity, not so much about the quality of the words, but we want to get 30 to 40,000 words on the page, out of your head, down, right? So that's the goal, without being too much of a perfectionist, not wanting it to be perfect, not needing it to even be good. Just get it out of your head so it can be dealt with, and you can free up your head to allow other information to come through onto the page. So the R in writer stands for review. And as that word suggests, it's about then looking at what you've written, which can be incredibly confronting because you're going, that is rubbish. And it's to be expected. It's first draft. So just know these are the stages in the process, and you feel a lot more comfortable about it without judging yourself too harshly. So we print that out, for example, you look at it, you read it. You're not proofing it at this point. It's not nearly finished. It's just to give you the bigger picture of what are the ideas, what should go first, what should go last, should this go in at all? So this is a time to add, delete, refine, revise, sharpen, just to get the bigger picture covered off. The next thing to think about is the I in writer, which means improve. So as it suggests, it's like working through that content and making sure that what you've now got is getting a bit closer to the final destination. It could mean adding, deleting, changing of ordering, even throwing a lot of things out and restarting. Sometimes you need to do that in order to actually find what you're needing to say. The fourth component is T in writer, which is T for testing. And that's a critical component whereby you actually take your content and you give it to your beta readers. And they are friendly colleagues who are in the field, who understand what you're doing, who can give you honest and direct feedback about how the book is landing for them. It's very important. It's like market research. And to do that to publish a book without going to that detail, it can be quite alarming, because you don't know how it's going to be received, and you'd rather just do a little bit of market research and twist and tune it up and polish it a little bit for those particular readers who are chosen specifically to give you honest and kind feedback. And kind is not necessarily being pulling punches, but kind and that they want you to be the best that you can be. And then the next step in that is E for edit. And so you can see these ideas keep sort of resurfacing. You've got your new content from the beta readers who've given you some information that you need to incorporate. That's the time to put that in there, to really, you know, take that feedback seriously and sharpen it up and polish it, because you're really nearing the end of the writing process. And only you can decide whether that information goes in or out. It's not up to that beta reader to demand it goes in, but you have to make your own judgment call as to whether that's appropriate for the book you actually want to publish. Then the last one is R, which is repeat. So that sense of reading, printing it out and going through it and just checking it to see if it's solid. You know, are there any inconsistencies? Are there any gaps that we've missed out? Are there any assumptions we've made that need to be clarified? Are there any references that we need to add? And then even to the point where you're getting to the proofreading stage as well, because at that point, we're getting very, very close to publication. And so you want to do your own proofreading, but you also will probably avail yourself of a professional editor. And so, in fact, we highly recommend that. Third party, set of fresh eyes, can look at your content for the first time without any prior knowledge and give you that distance that you need in terms of the feedback as to how that book is landing for them. And that's something we can help you with as well. They'll obviously do a proofread and really polish it up and tighten it up so that it's a very sharp and, you know, punchy little nugget that goes out in the world there to help you build your business. So they're all the steps involved in the writer process. So we know that if you have a process and you can stick to it, you're more likely to get your book written.